Hi all. In this lesson you will learn how to set up an Android pen testing environment. So there are two ways by which you can set up an Android pen testing environment. One is with your Android emulator and the other way would be to use your Android device such as a smartphone or a tab running any version of Android. So for people who don't have the Android device, you can just go and use the Android emulator to try out all the course contents and the exercise. For people who have the Android device, you can try out all the course contents and the exercise on both the Android emulator as well as on the Android device. But I would highly recommend you to first try out all the course contents on the Android emulator. The main reason for it is if something goes wrong, you can just start off from where you left when you're using the Android emulator. And in the case of an Android device, there is a high risk that something might go wrong and you might end up with a bricked device. So to set up the Android emulator, we need the Android developer tools, which is basically called the ADT Bundle. You can download ADT Bundle from the link given in the PDF file. So the bundle contains Eclipse, Android SDK tools and other development tools. So just click on this link and it will take you to this page. Just download the ADT bundle. We are using a Ubuntu 12.04 64-bit machine, so I will just select the 64-bit option. If you have not watched our lab lesson, please have a look at it. We have recommended you to use the Ubuntu 12.04 64-bit machine for this course. Just click on download and this will start the download. So this is a 474 MB file. This will take a little time. I've already downloaded the bundle, so I'm just going to cancel this one. I have downloaded it in the Android folder, so I'll just navigate to it. So you should see this ADT bundle zip file once you finish your download. Then what you need to do is you need to extract its contents using the unzip command. Once you do that, you will get a folder like this. You can easily unzip it by using the unzip command. Unzip and then given the ADT bundle zip file name. So now just navigate into the folder and you'll see two folders. One is Eclipse and the other one is SDK. Just navigate into SDK. Before you do all these things, make sure that you install Java. So I've already installed Java, so if I do a Java version I have a 1.7 Java version. So install JDK. If you have not done it, you can just Google it. It's very easy to install JDE on your Ubuntu machine. If you still have doubts, please post them in the question section and we will help you out. So once that's done, just navigate into the SDK folder and then into the tools folder and then launch Android. I hope the terminal is clear, or I'll just change the colors to maybe black and white. That should be much clearer. And then so I think this terminal might be much clearer. So I've launched the SDK manager. So once SDK manager is launched, you should see something like this. So what you need to do is you need to download certain tools and certain images. So basically these are the Android SDK tools. Some of the tools are already installed when you download the ADT bundle, but make sure you install all the tools. You can just select tools, then select one of the Android images. Basically these are the operating systems which run on your Android device. So I'll go with 4.42 and any other version if you wish. you can just select that one and just click on install these packages. I've already installed the 4.42 Android image, and that's why you see it says installed. Make sure that you install the Intel x86 Atom image, even though if you've not installed the ARM image. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Once you download all the required tools and the Android APIs, just click on tools and click on manage AVDs. So this will launch the Android virtual device manager. This is where you'll go and create your new emulator. So to create an emulator, just click on new. Given the name for the Android emulator, I'll just go with JSinfosec machine. So now just select any device. So they have configured certain devices. You can also configure your own device, but what I'll do for this video is I'll just select a device with lesser resolution so that it loads faster. So I'll go with something like 320 into 480. In the target section, this is where you need to select your Android image, basically your operating system that you want to run on the emulator. So I've downloaded Android 4.42, 4 and 2.33. That's why I'm able to see these three images. If you've just downloaded one, then you'll just see one. If you've not downloaded any image, then you cannot select any CPU. So I'll go with Android 4.42, and then for the CPU type, just select Intel. I just mentioned that you need to select Intel a little earlier. I'll tell you why, the importance of Intel Atom CPU. Once you select Intel, click on keyboard, hardware keyboard present, and then for skin, select skin with dynamic hardware controls. Now just given the RAM, so I'll go with 1000, that's basically 1 GB. I'll give internal storage of 30 MB and SD card storage of 20, and then for the emulation options, just go with snapshot or host GPU. Basically host GPUs means it uses the graphic card. So if you have a really good graphic card on your computer, then you can just select host GPU. On the snapshot is basically state will be persist between emulator executions. Basically when you close the emulator and when you switch on the emulator again after a while, due to the snapshot feature, the emulator will start from where you actually left. So you can just select any one. Since I have a good graphic card, I'm going to go with the host GPU, and then click OK. So this will create an Android emulator. So you can go and create multiple Android emulators. You can do that as a small exercise. So once you create an Android emulator, just highlight it by selecting it and then click on start. So now you can increase the display size by going into scale display size to real size, but I'm going to go with the default size. And to start the emulator, click on launch, and this will start the emulator. So why I selected Intel is basically to speed up the booting process of the Android emulator. If you select ARM, it's going to be very slow. I'll show you how you can speed up the Android emulator a little later after I launch the emulator. So this is how you'll go and launch your Android emulator. So this will take a little time to actually load. I have given some tips and a link where they've given some methods to actually go and speed up your Android emulator. So currently my emulator is really fast because I'm using certain methods using the virtualization technology from Intel, and that's why the emulator is really fast. You can see there is no lag or choppy effects on my Android emulator. So this is how you'll go and create your Android emulator. So I'm just going to close it. I'll tell you how to actually speed up the emulator. So the basic idea to actually speed up the emulator is, if you have an Intel system, then virtualization, Intel might support virtualization and you can check that by going to your BIOS settings. And if you see something like this, virtualization technology, and if it's enabled in your BIOS settings, then then your computer supports virtualization technology. So once that's done, what you need to do is you need to install KVM, which is basically a kernel virtualization machine. Once you do that, just enter this command grabc and see whether your computer supports virtualization or not. So what I'll do is, so the apostrophe is actually wrong, so so once you do this, if you get anything other than 0, then your computer supports virtualization. So you are good to go. Just install KVM. They've given the clear instructions in this blog post by software.intel.com. I've given the link in the PDF file. So just install KVM. After install KVM, just do KVM OK. So if you get a message like this, info dev KVM exists, KVM acceleration can be used, then you're really good to go. If you get a message saying that KVM acceleration can be used but your BIOS is off, then you need to go to your BIOS settings and change this one, virtualization technology, to enabled from disabled mode. Then install some dependencies as given in this article. Once that's done, add your username, basically the username that you have logged in. So if I have logged in into John, then you need to add, like giving sudo John, add user John name KVM, and you also need to add your username to libvi or td. Once that's done, just reboot your system and then make sure that you download the Intel architecture, and that's what I said, to select the Intel image when we were creating our emulator instance. So once that's done, you can just launch the emulator. So this will actually speed up the booting process of the Android emulator, and they've given comparisons of doing this with the non-Intel image. So you can see the difference here. It's like 15 seconds to 40 seconds. With Intel, it's just taking 15 seconds to launch, and with a non-Intel image it took around 40, I think. So this is the way by which you can go and speed up your Android emulator. So you can have a look at this link. They've given clear instructions, and also some of the other tips is like select host GPU or a snapshot when creating AVD instance. That's what I mentioned when I just created the emulator instance. Use a lower resolution so that the emulator loads faster. Dedicate more RAM, around 1 GB. Run lower versions of Android. So the other bet would be to simply run an Android version like 2.33 and so on. So in this lesson we learned how to create an Android pen testing environment using the SDK tools. So you can also launch the emulator directly from command line. The way to do it would be to simply give in emulator, launch emulator, then AVD for Android Virtual Device Manager, and the name of the emulator instance that you created. So in my case, I created it as JSinfosec lab machine. So you can also launch the emulator directly from your command line by this way, or you can just launch SDK manager. From there on, you can open up AVD manager and launch the emulator via the GUI interface. So you can launch it both ways. So the exercise for this lesson is you need to create an AVD instance for Android 2.3 and 4. I just showed you how to create an AVD instance for 4.42, which is basically KitKat. I want you to go and create for 2.3 and or 4.0. So this is the exercise for you, and also explore the various tools that ship with the Android SDK. So you see Eclipse, and if you go into the tools folder, you'll see other tools. Basically, if you go into the platform tools directory, you'll see certain tools. Please explore that one. We will be doing a lesson on them. So if you go to the platform tools directory, you should see certain tools like ADB and stuff like that. We'll be doing a tutorial on it, but please have a look at it and gather some information on it. So that's all for this video. I hope this was helpful. If you have any doubts or queries or even suggestions, feel free to post your questions in the student forum, or you can just drop an email to feedback@JSinfosec.com. If you're watching this course on Udemy, please post your questions in the discussion section and we'll answer you. Thank you for watching.